know some people are coming straight from work, some from church, some from their homes to be here, guys. You know, you were not just going to rock up. You had to vibe by the bathroom and by the mirror. And we see you guys are looking so gorgeous and and looking so great. Thank you. So I would like to welcome everybody. You guys are welcome as we are here to celebrate our amazing, wonderful, and lovely Callan. So my name is Faith Sitole, and I am her publisher. I own the company named Phenom Publishers. So how it actually started, I'm an author of 3 books, right? So how it actually started, can I say people who are in business here? Just by a raise of hand. Yeah. Okay, I'm glad that I was not the only one, right? So what happened is that people started coming to me for advice. Faith, you are writing, help us. Faith, you are distributing with exclusive books, help us. At first, I'm a child of God, guys. There's power in giving, freely, sparingly, right? So I will do that freely, but I was like, yeah. Maybe it's time for me to actually put something, professionally and something solid. And that's how Phenom was actually birthed on my 3rd book when I launched it. And I didn't know that I would be standing here and launching Callan's book. So it is such a very great opportunity and a very great moment for me. So how I met Callan before she comes, I know you guys are looking for her, but I'm just whispering, oh, I've got a preacher's voice again. Let me just whisper. So how I met Callan. So what happened is that we speak a lot in these events. I see the Zandi here. There's also our lovely colleague here, Kutlo. I know they are doing very great. So we were speaking in this IT-related conference, right? So I was a speaker there, and she was also a speaker there. So what happened is that she's such a very brilliant, I just love her. Ne? So she was collecting some data there for her company. Ne? Oh, I said I'm whispering. And what she did, she came to us, right? It was me and my 2 girls. And she's like, hey, ladies, you guys look so beautiful. You know what? Would you like some Easter eggs? I was like, yeah, I like some Easter eggs. I took one, and she's like, you want more? I was like, yeah. Look, okay, do you want them in a bag? I was like, yeah, give me the bag, girl. And then after we had these Easter eggs, we were holding them and we were carrying them, and she comes in, and she's like, here's a form. Fill it for me, please. Because you will win yourself a gift. I was like, girl, I'm in data myself. I know what you just did there. Because after that, we will receive gazillion of emails, you selling us something, right? She was like, Faith, shut up already. I was like, I got you. And that's how we actually connected. And from day one, I loved her. And then we then became very close like that. I look up to her so much. I know she's younger than me, but she's been doing some great stuff, everybody. Trust me, I'm going to give you a moment to clap for her while she's here, because when you clap here and she's not here, you are clapping for me. Maybe you might as well just clap for me, please. Thank you. So now I'm just going to give you the idea of how the program will be like. It's a very short program. I know some of us are fired up already. We're thinking church and the pastor. And trust me, not today. But it's just going to be a program that is run within 2 hours. I know we've chowed 15 minutes already. So by 8:30, trust me, Callan will be signing those books, and you will be taking as much pictures as you want with her. But please just spare us this 1.5 hours that is left. So it's a very short program. Trust me, by an hour's time, everything will be done and dusted. So it's very important that you just spare us your ears and you listen carefully. So ladies and gentlemen, as she walks down the aisle carrying her book, ladies and gentlemen, this is Callan, a lady of ours, the lady that we've been waiting for. She's finally here, and she wants to hug everybody. So we've got our 3 panelists to join us on stage. So we have Maggie, And please, can we do the same thing as she walks until she sits down? We clap hands for her. Isn't she beautiful? So she heads up the space within the transformation, diversity, inclusion, and culture at ABSA Group, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we can clap. Yes, yes, yes. And then we also have Wayne. Can we clap hands for Wayne until he takes a seat as well? Isn't he looking good though? He is, eh? And I like the African thingy that he has here. You represent us well, eh? So Wayne is a Chief Technology Officer, and he is a seasoned IT executive with over 24 years of experience in digital transformation within the healthcare and corporate sector. Can we please clap hands for him as well? And then we have, trust me guys, I had rehearsed and crammed and I don't know what's happening. You know the way I was reciting these things at night. It's Maggie, the chief, and Wayne, the chief, and now I don't know what happened. But you gave me, ne? And then we have Nompumelelo Zondi, and she, yes, Nompumelelo Zondi, can we please welcome her on stage, everybody? She looks so amazing, isn't she? And she holds she is a Wits graduate in psychology and political studies with a very unique blend of academic insights and entrepreneurial spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, can we please give her a round of applause? And the rest of the panel as well, can we please once again give them? Over to you, my love.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for making it today. You know, I really did write notes. But seeing everyone here, I think I'm going to freestyle it. Honestly, thank you so much. As someone who struggled making friends, very obviously the biggest nerd in the world, 6-year-old self is, this is impossible. What? I have this many friends. That's already a win. I am so excited about this book, that we have representation for autism, for ADHD. Normally, these diagnoses leaves people thinking that they are less than. Funny enough, people can't believe that I'm a public speaker with autism. And what I've explained to my psychologist very often is that what is difficult with speaking is actually because information lands all at once. It's not sequential. It's just all at once. And sometimes that can be overwhelming. But sometimes that can be incredibly helpful in problem solving, in the technology space, in the data space. And sometimes it can make me sound a little bit crazy. When I first started my small business, I was very well known as the mad scientist. Some of my clients would actually call me the mad scientist because I would always come to them with crazy ideas that they thought in their mind was absolutely ludicrous. But for me, it made complete sense. And step after step after step, I've been able to show them that in actual fact, what you might think is impossible is not quite impossible. It just might take a few more iterations to get right. 30 years of a new South Africa. That's what we've had. And especially in the news today, you will hear many people say that nothing has happened in those 30 years. But the reality is, those 30 years have been my entire life. I was born on Nelson Mandela's inauguration day, 1994. The country and I are growing up same time, together. And what I want everyone to understand is that behind the scenes of these 30 years, growth, development, change, transformation, bit by bit, we have been working to make this country beautiful, prosperous, successful. And yes, there's still a long way to go. But again, this book is a reminder that it's only been 30 years. And I live a very fast-paced life, but even I haven't done everything that I need to do in those 30 years. And so this book is hopefully also a calling to say we cannot give up on the South African dream. It's time for us to forget about survival as a country and move towards prosperity, move towards innovation thinking, creativity, dream of a better tomorrow. Not one of the bare minimum, but let's shoot these things out of the lights. I don't think that's the saying, but you know what I mean. And just to break the ice and to keep it light, I want to make you understand or help you understand how the autistic brain works. So, you might know this one. Why was 6 afraid of 7? 7, 8, 9. Because 7, 8, 9, right? I'm going to be honest, I still don't get it. Number one, okay, do you really want the answer? Number one, numbers are not atomic. They are theoretical structures. How can you personify a number? But I can write a thesis on this. This is not funny. But the reality is, there's a long way to go around accepting ourselves. There's a long way around healing the country, and also it must begin with us healing ourselves. Because healed people are kind. Healed people are not afraid to be their most audacious, bold self. Healed people are not afraid to dream. And the thing that I also want to bring attention to with this book is the reality that I wasn't born an AI specialist. It took a lot of hard work. It took a lot of sacrifice. Day by day, the ordinary, routine after routine, becomes mastery. And that mastery is then what leads to extraordinary moments like this. That is what's missing with our young people, is that they think that they need to be successful overnight. No. It's been 30 years and my journey is only beginning. And I thought it was incredibly important that I speak to young people out there and remind them that once upon a time, I was also just a baby. I was also a school-going child struggling with maths. Then I was a university student studying mathematics at Wits. Then I was an entrepreneur. And now I find myself taking those entrepreneurial skills and bringing them into the technology landscape, reimagining what our world can look like. And so the journey begins when you decide it begins. So for me, the purpose of this book, I want to read just a small bit of the book, but I think it'll give context into understanding why we are here. Because to be honest, I'm an AI consultant. I don't need to be doing this. All right? If I wanted to make money, this is not the way to do it. All right? This is about purpose. This is about igniting our society with light, bringing light and fire and energy in a time in South Africa when we need it the most, in a time in the world where we need it the most. This book will have done its job if, in reading it, just one person finds a piece of themselves that they thought was lost. If one person sees their own struggles with softer eyes, knowing that survival is not just about endurance, but about transformation. If one person reads this and finds strength to move forward, to smile through their own healing, to see themselves with more love and less shame, if one person feels lighter, freer, and more hopeful, then I would have succeeded. Thank you guys so much for coming out today. And before we begin the panel, I want to honor my family, because although we just found out about this autism and ADHD diagnosis last year, they unknowingly have been my foundation, my rock, my solitude, I'm gonna cry, my solitude and my safe space. Without them, without them, I wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't be the person that I am today. I thank you so much, guys. There was some of that is for you, so. No, I think I'd just like my father to say a few words. Just a few words, whatever you got. You got a lot, go for it. That's where you know I got my words from then.
Good evening. I'm Callan's dad. Her name is Callan Abrahams, and I'm proud of you. I play with data on a daily basis. Dashboards, interpreting data, been doing it. Now AI comes along, it's something new. But above that, I'm also just a coach, and I'm an introvert. And a lot of people don't know I'm an introvert because you won't hear me speaking too much. So I'm also reveling on Callan's successes, and success is subjective, and it's multifaceted, and it can vary from person to person. But what constitutes as success in one individual will always not be the same for another. And for me, success is dependent on a solid support system, be it family members or good mentorship. And being a coach, everything I do is football, because football for me is life, and life is football. So a lot of lessons are learned in football. So when you look at football, you can see your foundations. You can see the coach on the sidelines. He sets out the parameters of the game, the philosophy and how it must be played, all the rules, how you, and that is also with your moral values in life. And in the goalposts, you have your mom. All the moms here are goalkeepers. Because no matter what happens, your mom will always be there to protect your goal, will not allow you to fail, will always be the last defender. And your mom can see, the goalkeeper can see the entire game. By seeing the entire game, can see all the dangers of all the attacks that come upon you. And your mom is calling out, left shoulder, right shoulder. She's giving you out warnings. And thus you must listen when your mom speaks. Because sometimes you would think it's just a goalkeeper. But a goalkeeper is the most important player in the game. And as you build up from the back, you start to control the game. This is life, because in life you must be comfortable. Your distribution from the back. There's your dad shouting out, play forward, be confident, be positive. And in that forward play, if you can't play forward, play sideways. If you can't play sideways, you can't play forwards, go back. Your mom is there. She will recycle, she'll change the point of attack. And she'll show you a new direction. And in that build-up phase, we go through to the midfield. This is where you must understand roles and responsibilities in life. In midfield, this is where you are in the shark tank. You got to have awareness, you got to keep your eye on the ball, and you have to protect that ball. Take care in how you pass it. Because any loss in that position can be detrimental to an attack on your mom.
You can see this man loves his wife.
So take care. At the same time, as you try to distribute, this could be in your teenage years where you had, you've overcome that part, into your 20s, now heading into your 30s, you'll find that you had players that you were playing with. You pass the ball, some don't pass it back. And along the way, you will find others that go on doing their own things and they're not playing the game with you. Don't be afraid to make the substitution. Yeah. Play with the right players. You can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family. And in midfield, like I say, it's a shark tank. You always have problems. And to play there in that position, you have to have composure. There will always be, like you say now, there's ADHD, autism. There's always something coming up. And sometimes you are overwhelmed. And you are faced with problems. We don't say challenges, it's problems. And when you are faced with these problems, it's so big. And what we remember is man went to space. Man went to the moon. And when he got to the moon, he looked back at the earth. And he saw how small it was. But on that earth, there are countries fighting big wars. And when they're fighting these wars, they even forgot why they are fighting. And there's hatred. And they just know they must hate that person, but they don't know why. And you'll find that Countries have their own problems. Cities have their own problems. Villages. And the individual. Because you are in front of that problem, it looks so big. The idea here is to step away from the problem and see it for what it is. It's actually small. And that is where you make quick decisions and know where you're going next. So decision making is important. Always look ahead. Eyes on the ball, head up. Your head doesn't have to be all the way up. Your head can be on the ball, but your eyes can be up.
When are we writing your book, David?
This is unlocking the code. That's unlocking the code to life. Quick decision making. Be creative. Because now as you go into the final third, along the way there's small successes, but to get to that final third is a success in itself. The first three-thirds of the game is for the coach. What you do in the final third, that is all on you. You have to be creative. You have to be instinctive. You have to take your shot. And in doing so, when you play out to the wingers and you're in that row, because you play all positions, are you going to dribble into the box to score? Or are you going to make quick combinations to get into the box to score? Or are you going to make a quick cross? These are decision makings that you need to make. And no one can help you when you make these decisions. And when you finally take that shot and it goes wide, don't despair. There is a success. The build-up is a success. You say yes, and the coach on the side says yes, and he claps hands. We're almost there. And you do it again. The next time you hit the bar, then you're on target. But the next one goes in. And we celebrate that success because that's a goal. But a goal doesn't win the match. You have to get another one because you can always be punished. Life is like that. You get the second goal. It's still not enough because 2-0 score is the worst score you can ever have. It's the 80th minute. You have become complacent, and life will always get you in the back. So don't get complacent. Always look for continuous improvement, new avenues. And don't be afraid. Be brave. Go for that third, fourth, fifth, sixth goal. At the end of the day, the game has got successes. Enjoy it. Enjoying life and being content in life is also a success. You don't have to reach an astronomical goal as long as you are happy. This is me. I'm a coach. I love football. I love my family. Yes. And that's all I know up until now. I'm still unlocking the code. That's all I know up until now. And It's not just because I said so. No, 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 player. That's just the way it is.
Now I'm glad I went before him. All right. So we've got some wonderful panel members here. I've got my sister in business, Mpumi. Please guys take the mics. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Mpumi, please give the crowd introduction, and then Wayne, and then Margie do the same. I think you guys will probably do the best introductions.
Hi everyone, my name is Mpumi. Well, my full name is Nompumelelo, but I prefer to be called Mpumi. I am a Wits graduate in political studies and psychology. I'm a founder and a CEO of CIA Aesthetic and Beauty. So, having graduated, thank you so much. Having graduated in psychology, I've learned that there's a breach between what I do now in business, because I work a lot with people. So it's another person would say, why did you not proceed and go back to psychology and stuff? But I love my work because I feel like it's two worlds joined together. I find the girlies come and vent and whatever. To me, that's still psychology. Callan, I'm so proud of you. And I pray that you continue to grow stronger and stronger.
Good evening, everybody. So Wayne Janica, I am the CTO for African Clinical Research Network. We're the first digital clinical trial network across the whole of Africa. And essentially, we're trying to solve problems for Africa by Africa. We're tired of adopting, we want to innovate. And the reason why I do this is because I'm passionate about solving our problems. I'm passionate about our country. I've been blessed. I've spent time abroad. I've done things in other countries. But this is home, and it's a special place. And I think what makes it so beautiful is the people that we come across. I met Callan last year, and we've had an awesome journey of just discovering what it actually means to innovate, to promote our youth, and to drive this technology mindset of tech first, but tech for good. Because that's the only way we're going to fix this country. And if we want to fix this country, let's use data, let's use science to fix it, but let's also use it to beat the guys at their own game and to make a success of South Africa. We're proud of you for your book. Well done.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you so much, Callan, for allowing me to be part of this auspicious occasion. I'm Margie Tiflin, well, Margaret Tiflin, and I like to be known as Margie. And that was another story for another day. Honestly, when I saw her, I couldn't believe it was a friend that I grew up with and played games with and was at school with. So yeah, Callan is
Wayne's within the house?
Yes. So yes, I'm a diversity, equity, inclusion and belonging as well as culture lead for ABSA. And I think I'm living out my passion right now after 25 years of being in the human capital space. And the main aim for me is transforming the mindsets of people, changing behaviors, looking at how that landscape can improve people's experiences, and then ultimately the culture transformation of the organization as well as the communities and the spaces we operate in. So for me, I'm living out my purpose, and I can see you doing the same. So it's passion translating into purpose.
Guys, I'd like to, so everyone here hasn't read the book besides the family. What stood out for you in the book? Mpumi, let's start with you and we'll go. So for everyone here, what were the main things that just stuck out for you, that really struck you around the themes in the book? Because I know there's a lot going on in there. I do have ADHD. So there's a lot going on in there. There's a lot of connected points that I don't think people will catch the first time. But what stood out for you?
Okay, so in your book, as I read it, I read the whole book basically. So, firstly, what I want to say is that your book for me felt like an onion. So, with every layer that I read, I discovered a new Callan. I discovered an emotional Callan. I discovered a funny Callan. I discovered a strong Callan, resilient Callan. But most importantly, I like how you still get up and go. You could easily make an excuse with being in the spectrum, but you just like, it won't define me. I love that. And I think I said this to you a few days that I love the fact that you probably did not find out that you've got ADHD at an earlier age, because perhaps mom or dad would have treated you maybe like a glass, like a flower or something. But that gave you an opportunity, God gave you an opportunity to prove yourself that you are what He has called you to be, and the spectrum will not define you. So you're resilient, stood out for me, girl.
So I read your book when I was in Zimbabwe, and it was awesome because I didn't have much to do. So I really took time to read it and to understand. And I think we had a few conversations about it. And the first thing I did is I really felt sorry for your parents. Thinking about this person building castles and visions in the backyard. And I was thinking, when they saw all of these things play out, they probably thought funeral plan or hospital cover. But what it showed is the creativity of somebody who would potentially be judged, right? I'm an 80s baby. We didn't have ADHD. We didn't have these things. You were put into a box and you were defined that you will just be this. As a 90s baby, you were still in that box. Now roll on to the 2000s. Oh, we have a special word for it and we're very creative and it's accepted. But not knowing that is, I think, the thing that drove you to achieve, because you're constantly asking yourself questions. And I think I told you, growing up in school, I was told I was Joseph the Dreamer because I could never concentrate in class. I'm also ADHD. But what it did is it forced me to re-engineer myself. Every day, wake up and recreate myself and become a new version of me, because that is the way I accepted myself and not see how society would accept me. And I think in reading it, the one thing that kept playing back in my mind and going backwards and forwards is, how do we change that narrative? And the book changes that narrative. It gives you perspective. I know a few times I said, oh, I can relate to this. This is so relatable. But when it becomes relatable, you start to also question yourself. So when you go through that book, relate, think back. I'm not saying everybody in the room has ADHD, but think about the people who do have it. Think about their difficulties and struggles, but look at how they overcome it.
So, Callan, for me, the book was thought-provoking, inspiring, and really dug deep, deep. And to Wayne's point, there were moments of, in the passages that I could resonate with in so many ways. So he speaks about the 80s baby. So I'll speak about the 60s. And with maturity in the house. And in the 60s, we didn't know about neurodivergent thinkers. And neurodivergent thinkers is what autism and ADHD is about. And the kids didn't know, our parents didn't know how to deal with these situations, and kids were laughed at, criticized, ostracized because they were stupid in their peers' minds. But today we're living in a world that it really has transformed and transitioned. There is ways to manage the spectrum, and you brought to life your story, and that's what mattered most. Your experiences, your story really just brought about learning moments that resonated so much with me. There was tearful moments, and I was circling in the book. You must see my book doesn't look so great now because, yes, I was making notes there, and I'm saying, gosh, I need to go back and unpack this further because this is what I'm driving in our organization. So for me, thank you for sharing that story with us, and we only learn from each other's experiences. Thank you, Callan.
Oh, thank you. Emotional. And that's why I say this book is not just about technology. It's not just about being a woman in tech. It's not just about autism. It's not just about South Africa. It's about a number of things, and that's classic ADHD thinking, but the reality is that they're connected, right? My success, I'm only successful because we live in a new South Africa. I'm only successful because we've had a softer 30 years than the previous 30 years. Mpumi, as a fellow business owner, born free, yeah! I speak a lot about my entrepreneurship journey. And my entrepreneurship journey actually made me strong enough to be within a major corporate like IOCO and stand my ground when developing and continuing to develop the AI offering at IOCO. So what started as a safety net, because to be honest, I didn't feel safe in corporate spaces until I got to IOCO, because I think most of the people there are actually neurodivergent, but that's a story for another day. I found my people, I found my tribe, but the reality is that entrepreneurship for me was almost survival. It was the safe space. It's where I learned those skills, and I learned the necessary skills of being able to eloquently express myself, my ideas, and I realized that being able to express my ideas is what actually got things going, which is what made me focus on communication and really vocalizing ideas. Bringing ideas to life meant that you needed to communicate them properly. So, my sister, in your entrepreneurship journey, do you think I went far enough? Should I have done more?
Firstly, before I can answer actually that question, there's something that you wrote here before you actually spoke about your entrepreneurship. This quote really stayed with me a lot. I know I'm just going to read it in case you guys bump into it. It says, it's a part where she was learning to swim. And for me, it was a mouthful statement where it says, learning to swim as an adult felt both ridiculous and liberating, like I was undoing an entire childhood of avoiding the deep end. It's such a mouthful. It sounds like a very simple statement, but it's very mouthful and very powerful. Not only do you then do that, and then you continue to also say gems after gems. Success without purpose is just performance. And I'm like, Callan, who are you? And you speak about the reality of entrepreneurship. You speak about trusting the wrong people in the business. You think you're offering people opportunities to work, but you don't know that you are working with people that are there to destroy you. That is the sad reality of entrepreneurs in our space in South Africa, because someone comes to you and says, please hire me. I'm ready to take your company to greater heights. And as soon as they realize that there's a gap, it's either they want to steal or they suddenly want to gather whatever that you know and suddenly want to start their own company, because people think entrepreneurship is just opening a company and running it. It's not a child's play. It's not for the weak. And I appreciate how you've unpacked and you were very much raw and authentic in your writing, to a point that I read a part where you said you had to retrench yourself. It's very rare for business people to do that for themselves. We want to hold on to the seat. I'm the founder and the CEO. But she had to make a decision that was good for everyone. And her stepping back didn't mean failure for her. My mom usually says when a ram moves back, it's not because it's defeated, but it's because it's going to get new strength to come forth. And as you came forth, you came out with new ideas. So I think you did justice to the business part of things.
Thank you, Mpumi. Wayne, I want us to now discuss this artificial intelligence stuff. So, by the way, this is a lot, because when I met Wayne, he wasn't working at ACRN. He was working at our competitor, BCX. So we're supposed to hate each other. But Wayne is also on the stage, also, evangelizing people, understanding that AI can be used for good, right? And like I said in my speech, This book needed to come first because people need to understand that they are human beings. We are not all Elon Musk in the AI space, right? We are people with souls. We are people who want to see humanity prosper. And this story needed to come first before the artificial intelligence book, right? But Wayne, those points, what do you take from that, from the technology aspect, from the human aspect in this space?
So, when we look at it, right, specifically in the healthcare space, that's where I sort of live, eat, sleep, and die most days. We're really struggling with a lot of stuff around AI. We're really struggling with empowering these clinicians, with putting this technology into their hands, right? Picture a nurse that's been doing this. She's a senior sister, 31 years in the game. And we now force this mobile device and say, you will treat your patients like that. She's gonna look at you and ignore it. The way we do it is not through that forceful, you will death by. No, we actually need to learn from those guys, right? One of the projects that I've personally worked on is around why is there so much TB? Why is TB the highest killer in this country? And we now know it's because we have 1,000 patients to one healthcare worker. Think of it, right? How many people do you think she has to see in 1 month? And what is she doing? She's counting their pills. She's saying, right, you had 31 pills, you got 15, when the 15th, cool. You don't know if that patient is actually taking their medication. So what we did was we started using video observed therapy in order to use AI to observe a patient taking their pills. And then I took it further. I started looking at facial recognition and saying, hey, there's emotions behind this. And we started tracking emotions to work out whether the patient will adhere or not adhere. Now we're able to empower the healthcare worker to say, those guys are fine. Carry on working with them, but they're fine. That's the group you need to worry about because those are the groups that become super spreaders. They convert standard TB to MDR. MDR, the cost to government goes up 4 times to treat a patient. When they don't adhere to MDR, they become XDR. You start planning their funeral, but the cost to treat that patient is now 30 times the cost of their. But let's bring it back to purpose. It took a simple idea of using video observed therapy and using artificial intelligence to solve a crisis in this country. And lo and behold, 8 weeks after we launched that, along came COVID. Now, how was that healthcare worker supposed to deal with those TB patients in a remote setting? If we do not do these things early and become early adopters of technology, right? But don't do it in a bad way. Technology is not harmful. Technology for good. That's why I say I'm on this planet to see data do good. And if we start really using data for good, outside of the healthcare space, we'll solve so many problems. We'll convert so many solutions. But if I think about the book and the way you've put it, and it draws me to the area where you went out into the community and you started working with students, right? That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to share that knowledge. What I know shouldn't make me millions and billions. That's not going to benefit this country in any way. We should be sharing that knowledge. We should be growing the community. Why are we importing technology when we've got local skills? Why are we bringing in USA and India and all of these things when we don't even have the local data sets that can be produced by our own population group? So when we start thinking about how we embrace AI, how we embrace tech, we need to start at home. And the book, I think, for me, just re-emphasized why I'm still here, why I'm still fighting to answer the question, why is TB such a killer in this country? It's because we are not using the data to inform us. We've become too accustomed in the corporate sector to tick a box. I'm going to my job to tick a box. No, go and do your job with pride. Go and look at your job and say, how can I do better? Like it was shared, when you hire somebody, I've walked the entrepreneurial road. You think you're doing good in that person, you're investing in that person. Let's not be those people that bring down the people that put their trust in us.
I mean, whew, there's a lot. Margie, in your work in inclusion, autism and ADHD get a very bad rap. There's a lot of stigma around these conditions. What was your takeaway in the book, and What do you think we need to do to avoid that stigma or to remove that stigma from our society?
So, looking at the book and reading in every bit of that book, I found that it's education, lack of education and awareness, lack of understanding of the spectrum and the conditions from a neurodivergent perspective. I just want to maybe just lean into some of the stuff that I just written down. So when we speak about ADHD and autism, oh gosh, when we speak about that, our goal is not to label, but to liberate, to free people from the stigmas that attach and that create spaces where people do not feel safe. So there were three things that I looked at when I read through the book. So the one was, like I said to you, education and awareness, opening the minds and not closing the doors. So neurodivergence is ADHD, autism, dyspraxia, dyslexia, dyscalculia, and the list is endless, guys. It's endless. So in understanding that these conditions, you need to just understand that the people that have the conditions just think differently, show up differently, have different learning styles, different abilities. It's about accepting these people, our colleagues, our friends, our family members who are experiencing that. In this space, it's not a disability. And it shouldn't be labeled because it's in a controlled environment that the individual operates in. It's creating safe spaces for them to come as they are, to bring the best version of themselves. These are innovators, to your point. To your point, Wayne. They are the creative minds of the future. They are the technology fundis. They are the AI specialists. So please don't box them and don't label them because that's not who they are. The second point I want to bring home is, and before I close out on that point, I think of a verse in the Bible. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. That's Psalm 139, verse 14. This verse reminds me that difference is divine, is a divine design, not a deficit. So please don't look at it as neurodivergent is about being broken. It's not. It's about being wired differently with unique perspectives and different learning styles and strengths. So appreciate that, and that's what I saw in you. I mean, and how you pushed and forged forward in the book in terms of your experiences, with maths and the extra lessons and how dad and mum had to find ways to get that experience for you in the 3 months, first of all in the master classes that you went. And then you got somebody who actually then said, no, she can continue on the lessons. Look at how paying it forward in terms of just understanding the needs and working through that. Then the second one is about demystifying the myths. Difference is not less. You said it. Difference is not less. So we must challenge the outdated narrative that neurodivergent individuals are less than. In truth, they are often originations of innovation. That's what I said, creativity and deep insights. So you've got that, darling, and you're doing amazing work. You're showing up for every occasion, regardless of where you find yourself, and that's what I saw in the book as well. Then we need to create safe spaces where neurodivergent people can thrive. And it's about us, how we show up for each other, how we create those spaces. Inclusion is more than intention, it's about action. It's how we listen without judgment, honor differences, and make space for all voices, not just the loudest. So when neurodivergent people can come as they are, they thrive, not just for themselves, but their families, their communities. And that's what you've done, Callan, and workplaces they're a part of. And that is real sustainability. Thank you so much for sharing yourself and for writing that book, because there's so much to learn from there. It's about learning moment by moment and creating moments that matter, as well as experiences that matter.
Wow. Margie, I think I wanted to ask, why should people buy the book? But I think that you've already said your piece. Wayne, why should people buy this book?
I think after reading it, right, I went back and read it again, and you see it twice. You don't see it once. Every time you read it, it gives you a new perspective because you suddenly realize, man, was I mean to that person? Is there something going on there that I didn't pick up? Am I being mean to myself? Am I overexerting on myself? And like it was shared, it's peeling back those layers of onion. And when I think about that book and what it did to me, it really brought home a lot of things that I hadn't dealt with, that I'm still dealing with, and things that I've just suppressed because I don't want to deal with it. But it's not helping me as an individual until I get there. So it really exposed me to a new version of myself. It exposed me to somebody who's dealing with a difficulty that's not really a difficulty. It's actually not a difficulty. It's people like us who stigmatize difficulty. That's what it brought home. Pay special focus on chapter 6 and 7. We spent a lot of time talking about it. It really highlighted growing up as a young person in a very difficult country, in a very difficult time that is so full of opportunity. And I think that's what it done for me.
Mpumi, I know you were in tears in some sections. She was phoning me like, Haribo, Callan, no man, you can't do this to me. But Mpumi, why should they buy this book?
Most importantly is the fact that it's not just only for a 30-year-old or a 40-year-old. You'll find your younger self in that book. You'll find your youth. You'll find your older self. Callan is an old soul. Callan is an old soul. Callan used to sit with grandmothers and knit. So each and every person, there's a message for everyone in that book. Trust me, guys, you won't regret it. Business people are going to find something. Like a lot of, oof, okay. And anyone who thinks maybe they've lost track in life, there's something for you. Anyone who feels like they are frustrated, there's many parts where she's frustrated in that book because of issues in the society. I think you will relate to that. And her sense of humor is insane. She left a mark there as well. So grab the book. It won't be a waste of your money, I promise you.
Faith, with that, I think we're done. Wow. We're done here.
Thank you, everybody, thank you to our beautiful panelists, not just beautiful in looks, but in everything they had to share. Who wants to buy that book? Yeah? Oh, come on, guys. Why are you? Yeah. Okay, so, Shylock, you got that right? Everybody is going out at the book. So can we please give them a round of applause as they take their seats? So, my experience working. Oh, okay. So yes, please capture that. Oh,
Woo. That's a Callan moment. Yep. This is a proper experience of a book. I've tried to really help people understand what neurodivergent people go through. Once upon a time, I had a business named Vibes. It was a pop-up store for mental health, and it was definitely Vibes. Part of that is that I fell in love with candles and journaling. And so in this book, at the end of it, I'm really encouraging everybody to grab a glass of wine or a nice cup of coffee or hot chocolate or tea in your nice mug, light a candle, take out a journal and pen, and start writing your own story. Like I said, we can't heal this country until we heal ourselves. And our panelists, Kumi? Definitely, you deserve this one. Thank you. I'm sorry, we need to re-water your plant, Shem. Aski's friend. Thank you.
Please be careful of that.
To my beautiful mom. Thank you so much. And my dad is getting also chocolates. I think they're somewhere. So sorry. And then I heard you want to write a book. I'll definitely be paying for that one. And then to the biggest one of all. When I was handing out those Easter eggs, yeah, guys, I was just trying to do my job. Kevin, you saw, I collect the data at conferences. I don't just go to those conferences for nothing. But when I met Faith, there was just something that I was like, I need to keep talking to this person. Faith is someone who reminds you who you are. The way Faith nagged me, so when's this book coming? When's this book coming? When's this book coming? I said, don't worry, it's coming. But watching you be yourself, watching you do and empower writers to tell their story. Because to be honest, guys, this story has been, I think my family know I've been writing a book for, I think, 6 years now. But because I had Faith, my older sister in data, please, can I please give you these flowers? No, this is someone who shows the value of showing up just as you are. Not in the American style of being a publisher. In the way that says, oh, friend, don't stress. And then, you know how people, they're going to RSVP and then not come. You know how people, we're only going to start late, don't stress. And along the way, she was always there. For the hugs, for the print mess-ups, for the international suppliers. Faith, thank you for being a sister and a foundation. And I'm so excited at all of the work that you're going to do, publishing South African and African stories. I'm so proud of you. Thank you so much.
And now, how am I supposed to say something after this? Oh my God. So, thank you so much. It's not going to be a back-to-back speech, trust me, but it's been a wonderful, wonderful journey to work with Callan. What I love the most about her is that she knew what she wanted. And trust me, from the beginning till the end of the book, she wrote it herself. I do ghostwriting, right? People who are like, I know what to write about, but I really don't want to write. Callan was like, you are not going to touch any word of my writing. I'm going to write it the way it is. Don't edit it, because I want it to come the way I want it to come. And from designing her own cover, I help people design covers. I do it all end to end, but she was like, Faith, let me design my cover. She designed a beautiful cover. She designed her layouts. This girl is so amazing. I think I need to hire her. I was just there looking and making sure that I guide, I support, and, I lead. But she's done an amazing work. So the book is only 360 Rand. We could have made it 400, but 40 rand nyana for petrol. Ah, that, guys, well. You will keep that 40 rand, and trust me, it's going to make a huge difference. So it could have, it's worth 400 rand, but Callan was like, let them keep the 40 rand for bread, you know? So you'll get bread with that 40 bucks. And then, as she said, she's got a website. So website is www.whatiknowuntilnow.com. So if you want to purchase these candles, they smell so nice. You know what she said to me? She's like, Faith, I want people to have an experience. As they read, I want them to light the candle, open my book, read it, and journal. And, you know, this woman is so amazing. And it's just that I didn't want to spill the bean. But she created an entire Spotify music list that will journey with you as you read. So she tells you what song to listen to when you are reading chapter 1. Trust me, it's I've never seen this, guys. So as you read chapter 1, she will guide you, go to Spotify and play the song. Chapter 2 until you finish it with your candle lit on and with your journal. And what she says about this book is that her journey will lead you to reflect on your journey and start journaling your own. And then you come to Phenom Publisher. You know, but you have to journal your life because that's exactly what she did. You know, the first, how many versions have you heard of your book? We had different versions, you know, where she was telling a story about building, you know, these huge buildings and the buildings falling off and you know, you wouldn't know whether she a boy or a girl looking at the things that she did. Her face was too pretty. You wouldn't have doubted that she's a girl. But, you know, she's tried a lot of other things, you know, and it shows how brilliant she really is. And as South Africans who are living in this day and age, we really need women like her who will say, dark or blue, we are doing it. Guys, she's an international speaker. As we are speaking, she's going to Switzerland. And her book. So we had to quickly wrap up the global distribution as well, because we do that at Phenom. So because she's got a very huge reach outside of South Africa, outside of Africa, it shows the impact that she's played, not only in AI, you know, also by and she represents South Africa very well, by the way. When she goes abroad, she will make sure, but you can tell with her dress as well, you can tell. She will make sure that she's got either an earring or something that says, guys, I might look like some European person, but trust me, I'm South African, and you better get it. So we have reached the end of our session today. So this is what's going to happen next, né? So we have a counter at the back. That's where you're going to get your copy. Purchase the copy, please. And I saw the hands, by the way. Purchase the book, and then we're just quickly going to set up in front. And as you come here, she will sign the books for you. Please, 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 I beg, take those pictures. Post them wherever. Are they allowed to post? Poppy.
So in actual fact, I wanted to actually bring up back to the music. The music is related to the chapters. For example, in the chapter where I speak about women in tech, you'll hear that the song associated is nothing like the others because that's not my song. That's my dad's song. And it's a hint at the idea that although I'm talking about women in tech in that chapter, it was my dad and my father figure and men in my life who actually encouraged me and told me that, you know, this technology thing is not just for boys, it's for girls as well. And the reality that it's not just a woman's fight for women in tech to bring more women in tech, it's for all of us. And the reality that we have better technology if there's more diversity. So there's, like I said, layers in the book. So yeah, please enjoy it. And then photos, yes, photos. There's a competition that's from now until the end of May. May is my birthday. So in that competition, the best selfies will win the entire package. So candles, journal, and the really cool mug, which you are especially great for Monday mornings. Fail fast, learn even faster. Specifically, I want to thank Warren Hero. Thank you so much for coming out, Warren. You have been one of my biggest supporters in the AI space, in the data space, one of my biggest supporters. Thank you so much. Auntie Megan, thank you so much for your contribution. Derek Smith is in the book. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here with us today, but we are so happy that you are here, and may his legacy live on. Linda Martinez, who's also in the book, couldn't also be here, but we remember her fondly. Bonnie Diale, also my younger sister, would have been my younger sister, also couldn't be here today, but we honor these people because they, although they're gone, they still live within us. Weldon, my homie, thank you for always being there for me, bruv. To my clients, Eskom, Old Mutual, Lizam, all the way from Cape Town, thank you so much. There's so many people that I want to, thank so much. Thank you so much, Kevin from Mayoko Tikiso, hi. Thank you guys so much for being here. Honestly, there's too many faces to name. Karabo, also in the tech space. I can't put the words to how I'm feeling now. I think I'm actually a little bit overwhelmed. So let me end this. Thank you again. And yes, post the selfies. The other competition is a book review. So the best book review as well also wins a hamper and some other goodies that I'll throw in. Like I said, I'm doing this for fun, just because I can. So let's have fun with it. Whatever messages you want to take from the book and push towards our society, inspire others, take it, do it. Do what you want. Let's see what comes out of it. Thanks, guys.